Hello, welcome to my deck profile video. This is going to be for Yellow JJK, for Gojo specifically. I've been running this kind of list for a bit now. This list is actually the one that got 7th at the Bandai Card Fest, Day 2. Pretty similar to a list that I've already been running, just different numbers. So, just gonna go over it and then kind of give some tips for it. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, we're going to be running 4 Nobara, because obviously if we're running 4 Nobara, we're going to have the Nobara raids, and those Nobara raids are quite good. The second thing we're going to have are these 4 pandas with step. Lets you be aggressive. You know, if you start with one, if you start with like 2 zeros in your hand and one to go up, you can start, and then next turn you can push up and then keep going in the back, and assuming you don't get special triggered, you can come back and have an energy line. Quite good. And then obviously there's, the Panda Raid in this deck, so it's going to be a good 0 cost for us. Next is the interesting tech that the 7th place list had, was 3 of these Tsumikis, Fushiguros. It has a win play to give one of your other characters 1,000 for the turn. So if you have like your 3-cost Panda, or your 4-cost Gojo, or even your 3-cost Gojo, and you need to push it up, if you draw into this later on, it actually feels nice, other than just a 0 you put in the back or on the front for just a blocker. It actually has an effect that can help you get above things. And I do like that. The only issue, obviously, is that it's 500, so any amount of BP reduction will get rid of this thing. So Gwaine means that you don't get to put this on the front line against purple Kogios. And then, so that's 11 zeros. The 12th 0 is a Maki Zenin. I assume the reason that this person ratioed it this way is that Maki Zenin is a 2K, so it's good early aggression, but also has an active trigger, and active triggers can save your game. So, very good effect. Playing around, I might actually add one, maybe 2 more if I'm feeling like really spicy Makis to just help out the early game. So we're going to go to 1 cost. You have the 1 cost Toge that bounces something at 1 or 0 cost in this case. You know, very easy curve of, you play a 0, okay, I bounce it. Now I have a 2 energy production. Quite good if you get it early. Later on, kind of but it is what it is. So it kind of makes it to where it's kind of like a 14 card early game, but it is what it is. Next, the only 2 costs are their Nobara. This Nobara is actually a lot better than I originally thought, because its ability to rest something on your opponent's field, to rest itself, can come up of like, if they only have like 2K or less, and then 1 4K, and you only have 3Ks, it's like, okay, then it's good to be like, okay, you've blocked this, congrats. But once I get to the raid, I'll explain it more of why it's really good, but I think that'll be the hint of why the effect is good. Well, it's the only 2 costs, so the only things 2 and lower are these 16 cards, so they're very important to hit early, and if you don't, you are out of the game. But it is what it is. So we're going to go to 3 costs. We have 3 of the pandas, generate 2 energy, and have step, and also an active trigger. Very, very, very good card for Yellow JJK. I think, even the Mega Mulus, I think, should be running it. But, very good. If you can curve into this very easily, great. Then you can just leave him in the back, or if you really need some early aggression, or need to be able to push up to try to get the last hit, and you still live and somehow gets back to your turn, you can step back. Great card. Then, the first Gojo of the list is the 3 cost of has double energy. The important effect of, if there is a blue or purple card on your opponent's field, reduce the card's energy cost by 1. So this is effectively a 2 cost. So I guess because of that, let me switch that here, because it's kind of both in between. But with all the blue JJK decks, the purple Gwaine decks, some hidden Mahito lists are coming up, purple Bleach, This card is usually, in most, I say most, most local of my locals, this will be a 2 cost. Great card, easy 4 of. If blue and purple fall out of the meta, it would probably be a swap to one panda over this. But here we are. Let me move these over slightly. Next card, another Gojo, is the 4 cost Gojo. Put it down here. Great card, double blocker, has the great effect if your opponent can't choose it with abilities or event cards unless they pay an extra AP. Most people aren't willing to do that. But if they can just get to 4K bodies anyway, doesn't really matter. But because people usually won't, it actually makes the infinite void, unlimited void, I'm sorry, even better. So, great card, and if you hit an active trigger with a double blocker, you just stopped 2 more attacks without losing anything, which is great. Next, we're going to have 4 of the raid pandas, which there's 3 of the 3 costs and 4 of the raids, because there's going to be more targets to raid with. And if anything, don't be afraid to just play this as a 2 energy generator, because if you need to be able to get into your 6 cost Gojo, and that's how you do it, you just do it. Yes, you lose out on the double blocking with a 4, like the 1000 BP and impact 1, but 5000 Gojo with impact 1 is a little better. So, very good card. It's my shame right now. I have 2 in the mail, but they'll get here soon. Next, we're going to have 4 of the Nobara raids. We have 6 targets up here. Very good to be able to rest a big threat, or if they're low and they have big bodies and you know they're going to be blocking, you rest a small. If they only have like 1 small body, you rest the small body so that they are forced to block with big bodies and lose big guys. If you get it out early enough, you can pay the extra AP to deal 2 damage, so that's always a threat. Or even if they only have 2 life and you think they wouldn't block normally, you just go, you pay the 2, basically pay 1 AP to kill one of their units, and that's pretty good. And especially out of raid, this thing can be great and save you. The piece de resistance is going to be the 6 cost 2 action point Gojo. When played, draw a card. People usually forget that. Don't. Reduce the AP cost of the next card you used from your hand this turn, other than Satoru Gojo, by 1. That includes these other 2 Gojos. Or if you're using the site deletion one, that one as well. You cannot use it on them. So, 5,000 BP units are quite good. They are the easy target for removal by your opponent, which is why it's kind of essentially 1 AP if you use something else. And if you use it with a domain expansion, it makes it a free card. Like, yeah, you're using a card, but it's 1 card to play this out for free. So you could go Gojo, domain, Gojo, which is horrifying for people. So, very good. The trick is going to be learning when you should play this in the front and just use it as an extra blocker or fodder for their specials, or to remove one of your 1 energies in the back, unless you have 3 2 energies and an extra spot. Put it into the back line and keep it safe for a turn, and then you pull it up, and then you get to use its 5k impact which is a guaranteed hit on their life. Quite good. Very normal if you play the game. 4 finals. Getting an extra action points, just can win you the game. If you play 3 of these and your opponent doesn't play any, you've essentially had an extra turn over your opponent. I mean, quite good. And then on the very low chance that you get down to your 1 life left and it's the last thing in your life and it keeps you alive long enough for that 1 turn to get the kill, great. Hasn't come up for me yet, but I'm still waiting, and I'll keep waiting until it happens. Cool. The other event is going to be 3 unlimited voids. I At the beginning, thought one of was good enough. Because you would use unlimited void on something, and then they would just push up and send it to removal, and it was just like, oh, that kind of feels bad. But then after looking at this, I realized like, oh, that's also basically just a 1 AP removal, and you get it like energy generation forever. And or if you really need to just end the game, it is you don't have any Gojo. You can play this without Gojos on your front line to just rest their guys and go for the win. So this is good. You could honestly argue to cut one down to get another 0 win or something else, because if you don't get the setup you need, then having them doesn't really help you that much. But it's still a good card. And then last but not least, Hollow Purple. I'd say the second best removal in the game. Sending something to removal instead of their sideline gets around sideline effects, and means that things like Purple Bleach don't get to add an extra card to their sideline, which they can then use against you. Or if you're playing against any purple, if you use this on a 2 cost or less, which I don't usually recommend, then they can't bring it back with Color Trigger. But there it is. So this is the list. The tricks I will show you are going to be with the 2 cost Nobara and Nobara, the Gojo with pandas. And I already showed you that Gojo into Domain into Gojo is quite good, so we're gonna leave it at that. And I guess this as well. So let's move all of this to the side. And here we go. So the reason why I was talking about this Nobara, so its effect, if it's on the front line, you can switch it to resting, and you rest one of your opponent's cards. Okay, that feels bad and like not that great. But then if you go, cool, Nobara raid, sets it back to active, and now you rest another thing. So now they have 2 cards on their front line rested, and if you have 4 cards on your front line, which this would be a very interesting front line to be against, you get a not guaranteed 2 attacks in, but more than likely 2 attacks. So that is a combo that I tell people about pretty frequently. I highly recommend you use it. Another combo, not necessarily like a tip, but if you go 2 of these to the front and an unlimited void, whatever your opponent's going to see this and go, whatever just got unvoided is out of the game. This is gone, and especially if you next turn play another Gojo out, they're just going to accept that that thing is not a card and it's just wasting a spot, so they'll probably get rid of it. But yeah, if you turn 3 go, yeah, unlimited void, Gojo, they're going to be very sad for whatever card they played. And then the last little combo I'll talk about is going to be if you have, Panda and we'll just say this is your backline. If you play Gojo, draw, you don't really have anything, you can go ahead and play a Panda, has impact, so you're probably getting a free hit in, and it has double block. So even if they do remove this, if you do get kind of lucky and hit the active trigger, bang bang, double, block 2 extra things without losing them, even if they're 4Ks or even 5Ks. But that is going to be the profile for our boy Gojo. I really enjoy this. I keep running it. I feel very comfortable on it. And the only problem with the deck is what I mentioned earlier. There are 12 zeros, 2 1s, 2 hard 2s, and then 4, usually 3, sometimes 3s, sometimes 2 cost Gojos to get in. So the only problem is not hitting your energy early. But if you do, you're in a really good spot. And I hope you play it, and I hope you have fun with the game and continue going to your locals. That is all from me. Have a good day.